Welcome to the Market Mystics podcast. I'm Joshua.
I'm Kim. Let's dive in. Welcome back, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. When I was a kid, we had two sides of the family that said Thanksgiving two different ways. And it was either Thanksgiving or Thanksgiving.
Oh.
Yeah. How do you
Which
say
one
it?
did you land on?
Thanksgiving.
I don't know where the emphasis is.
I know. I don't mean either.
I don't know that I would emphasize it either. Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
No.
No.
If anything, I emphasize giving more than thanks.
Yeah.
That's interesting. We started our meeting today with a heated discussion on green bean casserole. So would love to hear in the comments the listeners' thoughts on whether or not you love it or you scrape it in the trash.
I don't know why you would do that. I love green bean casserole. And in my family, we make two distinctive types. They're different. One uses like normal green beans, and the other uses the French cut green beans. And both are necessary, and both are delicious, and both are on my plate and fully consumed.
Yeah, that's not at all my position on it, but you know.
You and Brandon, we have a friend, Brandon, who may be listening. He also hates green bean casserole with a passion, which I just don't quite understand. It's a lot of energy to put into disliking a dish.
He does. He is very opinionated about it, more so than I am. I just don't like it, and I'm not going to eat it.
Joshua, we align on a lot of things. This is just not one of them.
That's true. Often on food, I feel like
That's true. Okay, so if you don't like green bean casserole, what's your favorite part of the Thanksgiving meal? And do you do traditional?
Mostly the meat, probably. We generally do a turkey and a ham.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably lean a little bit more towards the ham than the turkey. Just because, I mean, sometimes turkey can be great. Sometimes turkey can be real dry. So, I feel like the ham's a more consistent option. So we did generally do a more traditional Thanksgiving. But we don't always do like a super traditional Christmas meal. Like some people kind of do Thanksgiving twice. And
That's true.
We don't generally do that. But yeah, Thanksgiving's pretty normal, pretty traditional.
So what's your favorite part? It's the meat.
Yeah.
It is the ham.
It's the ham. Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes in the holidays, my grandma will make what we call orange swirl bread. And it's a bread that's kind of in the center, has a spiral, and it's a little bit of orange, it's a little bit of cinnamon spices, and so it's like almost a cinnamon roll but in a loaf, and a little bit different flavor profile. And I just think it's great. But it's been something we've had since my childhood in the holidays. Not always Thanksgiving, but yeah, that's a good part. So I don't know if you've seen on social media, I've seen, like, maybe it's because I saw it once and I liked it, and so I've seen it a bunch, but I've seen this trend of people making a round loaf of bread and cutting it and preparing it in such a way that when it's baked, it looks like turkey or chicken.
I have seen it. And it
So
legit looks like it.
It does. So we're going to attempt to make it this year. Bree and I are going to try and, well, I say Bree and I'll be there. Bree's going to make it.
You're the moral support.
That's right. Yeah.
That's
So
fun.
she's going to try to make that this year. And so I am excited about that because I think that could look really fun.
Heck yeah, I hope you get the drumstick.
Yeah, I for sure will.
You should hide a wishbone of some sort inside.
That would be
Do people still
funny.
do the wishbone thing? Was that just when we were kids?
I don't
Did
know.
you
I'm
do that
trying
when you were a kid?
not regularly. We did once in a while, but it wasn't regularly. I'm trying to think the last time. I mean, it could have been, I might not have done it that long ago because I feel like my nephew has done it and thinks it's really fun.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible that I've done it not that long ago. But yeah. So we started having kind of a interesting conversation just about Thanksgiving, and you said it's one of your favorite holidays, if not the favorite holiday. And so I would love if you expanded on that a little bit.
Sure. I do think it's my favorite holiday. Even though it's not my favorite season, I'm very much a summer girl and I like warm weather. This is very much a fall holiday. Um, I think I love it the most because it has, at least in our household or in our family unit, it has always been the least consumerism centered.
Hmm.
Though we do buy ingredients to make a huge feast. Um, it's always so focused on just being with one another and on gratitude. And I also know those are not the roots of why this holiday was established, but it is indicative of the name of the holiday. And I love what it has become in our family or what it is. I think it's always been like this, but I love that. Um, I have been so pissed over the years when Black Friday seeps into Thanksgiving. I'm like, you leave that crap out. Just save it for the next day. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see it. I don't want anything to do with it on Thursday, on the actual holiday. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm a purist in that way, but I think that's why I like it the best is it's so focused on relationship and just simply being with one another. And my family, at least growing up, it was always very traditional. I know a lot of families like go have like this mass nap, like everybody disperse and then they all nap, probably because the tryptophan in the turkey, which is that chemical that makes you feel sleepy. Um, but for us, it's always like then board games.
Mm.
So it is like eat the big meal, kind of push it to the side, like get the dishes off the table, leave the snacky things out, and then play board games. And I love that. I tend to be fairly competitive and strategic, and I love board games. I love card games. And then you just kind of graze for the rest of the day, hang out with one another. It's just fun. I don't know. That's why I love Thanksgiving.
What's your like go-to board game?
If I had it my way, it would be like Trivial Pursuit.
Mm.
But not everyone agrees on that. I like kind of word associated games. So I like a Pictionary and I like catchphrase and
Mm.
I like Scrabble okay. Categories. We have this game called 5 Second Rule that is real fun. I don't know. They're all word games.
I love it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think I understand like or I've experienced it as well as being maybe the least consumer, maybe the most pure holiday. Like has maybe stayed as similar to its origin as any of them have. I mean, I know it's not exactly the same as its origin, but I'm just thinking in my mind of like the US's major holidays. And I feel like Thanksgiving may be one of the closer ones to it. And yeah, I think for our family, it is like it's a time to be grateful. It's a time to be with family. Um, and yeah, it's enjoyable. And I remember I remember the first Thanksgiving that where shopping became part of it in the evening. And I was like, this is weird. Um, it didn't like feel right, but also like I've also gotten some really good deals like going shopping on Thanksgiving night. And so like, I can't totally hate on it. But
That's funny.
um yeah. I also have like, okay, so when I think I was 7 or 8 on Thanksgiving, was in a like pretty traumatic car accident.
Mm.
And every year since then, like that memory has come up of being like, yeah, like I'm grateful I'm alive because that accident could have very easily gone the other way. And there is just this like um there's a gratitude that I feel on Thanksgiving that I don't always feel on the other holidays.
Yeah. Hmm. That's really good. As we're talking about this, it makes me wonder because I was raised more in a Christian community. So I wasn't raised in the church, but in a community that observes more Christian holidays and things. And only recently have we been observing any of the Jewish feasts. But I wonder if, like, something inside of me that I don't consciously know about is drawn to this holiday because it most resembles a feast.
Yeah. I wondered that actually. I had a similar thought when we were talking earlier. Like,
Mm.
this is probably the most similar to a Jewish feast,
Right.
um, where it is kind of like it's your people, it's a big meal, it's an all day, if not multiple day. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I know sometimes for our family, like Thanksgiving spills over into the weekend, like eating leftovers, and oftentimes, like the family is still together. And so, um, yeah, I think that's a really interesting observation. And
There must be something to it if we both thought that independently.
yeah. Hmm.
Makes me wonder. I don't know. It's like, sometimes I feel like the Father has these principles for us, and sometimes he has these ideals for us, right? Like, here's the ideal thing you could do. And even if we're raised in a way that we wouldn't observe them, or a part of a culture that doesn't do it the same way, somehow they still, like, he still gets them in there sometimes. And I
Hmm.
think that's a beautiful thing, you know? Like,
I
I
don't.
wasn't raised Jewish. I wasn't raised around Jewish people. So I didn't get to experience those feasts. Nobody knew how to do it. Nobody knew the point, any of those things. And yet, for hundreds of years now, the American culture that is not predominantly Jewish has observed this one day a year
Hmm.
that has so many of very similar principles. And I think that's kind of a beautiful thing.
I agree. It makes me think of like I've heard people talk about a concept of like God's plan will be accomplished no matter who, like you can choose to partner with it or not, but his plan's going to happen. And it's like, I think, the feasts are sort of in a way there to help people remember certain aspects of where they came from or to help them enter into rest. And I feel like that's like when we're talking about Thanksgiving, it's like, oh, let's be with your family, let's have a big meal, let's sleep, let's play games. Like, and I know that isn't everybody's Thanksgiving experience. But it is a like large part of Thanksgiving. And as a whole, I would say. There's always exceptions to that, but it just is kind of like, yeah, like he's still sneaking in ways of making us like celebrate and remember and rest.
Right. That's good. That's really good. I like how you said, I feel like I might have limited it a little bit with my language and some of the beauty of Thanksgiving, but I like how you said with your people, because a lot of my life it's been with family, but I've also had plenty of Friendsgivings, and I've had plenty of family Thanksgivings where friends come and are just part of the family. And I was even thinking back to when I was in college, I went far enough away that I couldn't just come home for Thanksgiving or for Christmas. And neither could the people around me. And I just remember like the establishment, like the depth of relationship that was established by just sharing that holiday together with the people who were with me. I think we had like a group of about 10 friends who we all got together and we cooked the thing. And I had a friend who made rolls from scratch, and the guys did the turkey. And, like we divided all the things, but we still got together and had this. It was still conceptually the same, even though the relationships weren't what I was raised with for that, but it still felt like family. So now I'm going to go back on saying that family was so limiting, but I think that it's something that actually helps build family even when it's not blood family.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
No, I think that's a great point. Like um I've been pretty fortunate to most of my life be able to spend Thanksgiving with my real family, but I have been part of Friendsgivings, and I've had friends who that's all they do because they don't live near family. And um, I think back to like my college time, and the president of our university would come and eat at the cafeteria on Thanksgiving with the kids who weren't able to go home. And
Mm.
it is like, yeah, it's this thing that brings people together in a like, maybe all of our holidays bring people together. Um, but Thanksgiving, I feel like, just has a different feel with it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's
Mm,
because it's more like a feast,
yeah, maybe so.
right? So
Mm,
there's not some obligation to like, oh, bring the gift and find the best thing or whatever,
yeah,
right? It truly is about being together and enjoying a meal. But I think that also really speaks to the power of sharing a meal.
definitely.
I think we've talked about this a little bit. Like, I think we've
Hmm.
touched on it a bit in a few other episodes, but I do
Yeah,
think there's something pretty significant about sharing an experience of a meal. And I've said this previously too, but I'm going to say it again. Um, because eating is like such a vulnerable thing for the human condition. Like our bodies have to be able to recharge,
hmm,
and it is almost an admission of a weakness and submitting ourselves to one another to actively participate in recharging our bodies at the same time,
yeah,
right? And I also think there's something about having a little bit of the distraction of eating that can encourage relationship building and going into deeper things if that's how you do it. Because it doesn't feel as intense when you have something else to distract other parts of you.
yeah. Hmm,
Yeah.
that's
I don't
good.
know.
Hmm. I would love to hear from our listeners on, first of all, what are your thoughts on green bean casserole? Like, that's probably the most important thing we've talked about.
That's
Um,
hilarious. Second of all, do you want my recipe for the second one that is better than the first one?
It's not.
It is. No, you haven't even tried it, Josh. You couldn't try it if you wanted to. It has dairy in it. That's my disclaimer.
And because I think it will be fun to do the cheesy things that all the kids roll their eyes about. Would love to if our listeners would share one thing they're grateful for with us in the comments.
Is that cheesy?
I feel like my family does that. It's like before we're allowed to eat, we go in this circle and everyone has to say one thing they're grateful for. And it always just feels like all the kids roll their eyes and it's like, I'm grateful for family and my friends. And someone always says turkey and yeah. So it feels a little bit cheesy just because of my experience, but I would love to hear from people. Let me know what your thoughts are on green bean casserole. Let me know what you're thankful for.
What are you thankful for?
Well, because we're in this podcast, my mind immediately goes to like podcast type things. And this year we've had like amazing guests almost the whole year long. We've had really fun guests. And that journey of expanding our platform and expanding the people we've talked to, I think I just feel really grateful to like when I look back on the first year of our podcast versus this year of our podcast, it's like, wow, there's been some really cool things happen this year. We've talked to some really amazing people. Like just a few days ago on Monday, the episode we did with Paul Young aired, and it's like I wouldn't have necessarily ever thought that we would be interviewing Paul Young.
Right.
And we did, and it was great. And if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it.
You should listen to it. It's like the best infusion of love.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. I probably have a similar answer. And it has to do with, I think I'm really grateful for relationships that are established, but also new ones. And I don't know, meeting new people, broadening my horizons, getting an expanded view of humankind, I suppose.
Yeah.
And like getting glimpses. Okay, with some of these guests, like getting glimpses into the value that they carry. So precious.
So precious.
Yeah. Super good. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Have a happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, guys. Thank you for sticking around. Listen for new episodes every Monday and Thursday. Find us on all social media platforms by searching for Market Mystics. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. Visit upperroomcd.com where you can find more information about the hosts, projects, and guests. Go deeper by booking a coaching appointment focused on redefining identity and wealth in your life. See you next time.